Good afternoon, and thank you all for coming. I'm actually very excited to be back with you here in Kabul and look forward to a really good visit, both with our troops and with the Afghan civilian and military leaders. It's been a few months since my last trip here, and I thought it was important to come back in the wake of President Obama's announcement of his strategy for the region. As all of you know, a key part of that strategy was the decision to surge an additional 30,000 United States troops to Afghanistan, some of whom, Marines from Camp Lejeune, will be arriving this very week. I visited with those Marines last Monday, as well as with soldiers from Fort Campbell, Kentucky. I told them essentially three things that I think bear repeating here today. First, for the veterans among them to expect Afghanistan to be a different place than it was when they last served here. The insurgency has grown more violent, more pervasive, and more sophisticated. By General McChrystal's own estimate, insurgents now have a dominant influence in 11 of Afghanistan's 34 provinces. And they are becoming much more effective in the use of improvised explosive devices and small unit tactics. I remain deeply concerned by the growing level of collusion between the Afghan Taliban and Al-Qaeda and other extremist groups taking refuge across the border in Pakistan. Getting at this network, which is now more entrenched, will be a far more difficult task than it was just 1 year ago. And as a part of this trip, I intend to discuss with Afghan and Pakistani leaders the extent to which we can all better cooperate and coordinate our activities to eliminate the safe havens from which these groups plan and operate. Indeed, I will go to Islamabad later this week for yet another meeting, my 14th, with General Kiani, as well as with other top Pakistani officials for just that purpose. General Kiani and his army have been achieving good success of late in South Waziristan, flushing out and capturing scores of Taliban and Al-Qaeda leaders. Capitalizing on what they learned in Bunair and Swat, the Pakistani military, while still taking a significant number of casualties, is taking the fight to this most dangerous enemy of their state. Just as we have come to know, they know that the most difficult aspect of counterinsurgency work is consolidating one's gains by holding and building. And I look forward to discussing with him his estimate of the situation on the ground and his view on the way ahead. Likewise, I told our troops headed here to steel themselves for more combat and more casualties, even as I urge them to use the time before deployment to learn all they can about the Afghan culture, to immerse themselves in local dialects and customs. Because in my view, and that of General McChrystal's, the Afghan people, their needs, their perceptions, and above all, their actions are and must remain the center of gravity in this conflict. Our mission here is to defeat Al-Qaeda and prevent Afghanistan from succumbing to the Taliban rule again. To do that, we must protect the Afghan people. We must put their lasting security first. They must know and they must feel safe enough to stand against the intimidation and brutality of the Taliban. They must know and they must feel confident enough in our commitment to them and to their future to work with us as, with our international partners, we help them develop the foundations of good governance, effective public administration, and a basis for economic progress. That's why I'm also looking forward to spending time with our Marines down in Helmand Province. They understand this. I visited them just a short time after their operation began last summer, and have watched with great pride as they have made a significant impact in security conditions, not by and through their numbers, but by and through their disciplined application of the counterinsurgency principles advocated by General McChrystal, principles which hold us to a higher standard of conduct and a more narrowly focused use of armed force. I would add here that a major part of their success, and the success our surge forces will likely see, has come through close partnering with Afghan national security forces, who are themselves performing nobly and well. Indeed, it is how we use our forces that matters far more than how many of us there are in this country. Because eventually, and beginning in July 2011, our troop levels will thin, and we will not have as large a military presence here. President Obama made it abundantly clear. Our national commitment to Afghanistan will endure, but our military presence will not. We must quickly reverse the momentum of this insurgency and build the capacity of the Afghan army and police to provide for the security of their own country. We will do this, of course, with the welcome and continued support of the other 42 nations allied with us in this effort. And again, I welcome the promised contributions of some 7,000 more troops from NATO nations. But we also must have the promised support from perhaps our most important partner, that of the Afghan government. And this was the third thing I told our troops back in the States. We cannot accomplish our mission alone. No military possibly could, because no purely military solution will ever suffice. In order for long-lasting security and stability to take root here, there must be a faith, trust, and confidence by the Afghan people in the public institutions which safeguard their livelihoods and those of their children. President Karzai has made evident his desire to provide those safeguards, to lead a central government hostile to corruption and amiable to the needs of its people. In me, he has a supporter, and I will tell him so later today. And in our troops, those already here and those about to arrive, he has a determined ally. Thank you.